I brought the 25 into the shop. I'm going to take it apart and play it by ear, see how it goes. I have plenty of other 25s that turn, be much quicker to get in the running state, but I just rather do something like this that's really bad. This way I can take it apart and possibly swap the power head if that's what the bottom line is. Maybe not, we'll see. But the first thing I'm going to do is start taking it apart. You know, all the outer pieces, recoil, pop the flywheel. I guarantee the coils are probably still good. And, you know, take the carburetor off, take everything apart and work it from there. So until we get to there, we'll see what happens. Alright, I guess I'll take it apart. To my favorite place. And we'll see how it goes. I think there's a seagull in my garage. No, it doesn't do it. It figures. Well, I just popped the flywheel off. Came right off, believe it or not. The nut was really tough to get off, but I got the nut off. But as far as the puller, it popped right off. Looks like something from the Sahara Desert. But these points and the coils are definitely reusable. You would never think so by looking at them, but they are. Alright, continue on the quest. Well, I took off the bottom bypass plate. Piston's actually not that bad on this one. I tell you, these motors are so deceiving. I mean, the salt powder, you know, it's not too bad. It's the corrosion is more of a problem. Well, we'll just keep pushing forward. I'm going to pull the cylinder head off. I started doing it. So let's see what's behind the cylinder head. Water pump impeller. All 3 screws came out like butter. Amazing. Just want to give you a quick view of what I revealed. This is very common, especially in the saltwater environment. Well, I took the whole block apart. I finally decided, I made my decision to take the whole engine apart. And being that it's in such bad shape, it'd be quite a challenge to bring back. So that's why I'm doing it. I have the parts to do it, so everything came apart relatively easy. I was shocked. Broke 2 head bolts. Got them out with a little struggle. The only other problem I had was the magneto. 2 of the screws that hold the 2 out of the 3 screws that hold the coils down, a screw broke on each coil holding it down. I broke them. I used an impact driver. I couldn't use heat because I destroyed the coils. But I got the magneto all apart. That was probably the worst of it right there. And also 2 of the like I was saying in one of my other videos, on these 25 and 18s, the power head bolts strip. So what you can do is go down from 5/16 to like 8 millimeters, 7 millimeter, and just smack them on there, and you'll get them out most times with a lot of heat. So out of all the bolts, out of the 5 that hold the power head from the bottom, 2 of them stripped out. This one not as bad. But I got all the power head bolts out, and that was that. I took the carburetor apart before just to see how it looked inside. Not bad. Definitely rebuildable. Water pump, not too bad either. The impeller. Housing's a little corroded, just probably change the housing. Well, if you can do that, do the impeller. Do both of them. But inside the cylinders don't look bad, as you can see. Now, I haven't pulled the crank out yet. But another one, just like that 5615 I did. Not bad. I popped the caps off last night just to see what kind of condition the needles are in. And I was shocked again. They're in really good shape. I'm sure this crank is good. The top one's the same way. So the crank is good. The pistons, same thing. Break the rings off or try to save them, whatever. I got plenty of rings for the 1825s, more so than the 15s. But the crank looks really good. Again, this was a common problem with the corrosion on the cylinders in the late 60s and early 70s. I've seen it many times. When I was still working on my job, I actually had these machined and made bushings. I did about 5 or 6 blocks. I still have one. I was trying to find it to show you. But I actually had aluminum bushings fit. Guy went in there with an end mill on the Bridgeport, cut all the broken aluminum away, staying off the cylinder itself, the cast iron cylinder. And then we measured the bushings and machined the bushings on a lathe. I sandblasted the bushings. I think it was 7076 aluminum we used. No, T6 aluminum. It was real hard aluminum. And I sandblasted the bushings, zinc chromated them, put a Marine Tex layer in between the existing cylinder on the bottom where it cleaned up, pressed a new bushing right on top of it. And I rebuilt quite a few motors back, some years back, and none of them ever came back. So, but this one's a very common problem. All this corrosion around here. You know, if you want to be really cheap about it, you could fix this, but I'm not going to bother. I have 2 blocks right here. I could pick either one. I have many more blocks, you know, with cranks in them, with pistons and everything. But I'll probably end up using this one on the right. It's a 1975 25. This is a late 60s 18. So I'll probably go with this one. And that's my decision. Everything came apart on the lower unit. I was shocked. All the bolts, even the main bolt, which is always a mother bear, that came right out. All the other bolts came out. The 3 screws that hold the water pump housing everything came out. When I took that flywheel off initially and saw all that powder on the one coil, number 2 coil in the back, I would say this motor's a mess. I was ready to change the power head. But all in all, it looks pretty good. I'm going to continue taking this apart and make sure the pistons are good, wrist pins and all that good stuff. And we'll probably go from there and see what happens. I also have a whole lower end right here from the pan down. Same year motor, 72, 18 or 25. I've got the whole lower end, so I think I'm going to make it a short shaft. But short shafts move better, they sell better than long shafts, just from my experience. Most people are looking for shorties. So I might do that. I might just still use the original section and just convert it. There's no rules, you know, just do what you want to do. And again, I'm thankful. All the years I went to the scrap yards and got most of the stock, my inventory. You know, 14 years I was hitting the scrap yards 2 or 3 times a week, like 6 yards, you know, where I live. And I got quite an inventory of parts, which I'll never get rid of in this lifetime. So it's time to do something with this stuff. So I feel good about pulling this motor out from the back, because it's just going to sit there and end up back in the junkyard, you know, eventually if I don't do something with it. So, but we'll see what happens with the next installment on this motor. 1972 Evinrude, 25 horsepower. I'm calling it the spider web motor. I never found that spider either. He seemed to move. I went and got a cup with a lid. I was going to relocate him, and he was gone. So I don't know where he is. So it did snow the next night, so he must have got out of that. I had no cover on the motor, and the snow got all over the engine. So, well, I'm going to knock the pistons out in this little clip here. Again, here's my tombstone block. As long as the pistons move, it's good to go. Number 2's coming out pretty easy. That's one. Number 2 piston. Don't look bad. Maybe get these rings off. I think this is a pressure back ring. Yeah. One compression and one pressure back. Yeah, so piston looks pretty good actually. A little scoring there, but very minor. All right, now I'm going to wrap out the other one. This one seems like it's a little tighter. She's moving. I don't want to cut my hands. Put my gloves on. Out. And she's out. Handy little tool. I got a whole set, 4 or 5 of them for different motors, up to 40 horsepower. This piston's not as nice, but it's still good. I'll clean it up, pretty much just like the 15 I did. Got that rust and buildup right here. That's why it was so hard to get out. But all this comes right off, folks. It cleans right up. This ring's not even stuck. Amazing. Compression ring is. So I'm going to clean these up and swap the blocks and work it from there. Gotta love it. The Outboard Tinkerer, 1972 Evinrude, 25 horsepower, being brought back from the dead. Just one motor at a time. That's all I can do. I wish I could do 2 at a time. I guess I could. That's an idea for another video. So stay tuned on this rebuild. Thanks for watching.